Hello again from my front porch, and it's sunny out here too. I mean, we're in the middle of winter here in Iowa. It is really cold outside, but the joy of this front porch is that, the sun shines on you and, warms the place right up. Now, pretty soon the sun's going to go down and it's going to get really cold out here. So we'll make this short. You haven't seen me on the front porch for a while, and there's just been a lot going on. And I also had said that, this season I was going to try to do these all with a co-host or, somebody that I was going to be interviewing, or talking to, so it wasn't just me. And I'm violating that now. But the reason for that is actually a really good reason, because there's something really important, a couple of really important things I wanted to address. I thought I'll just tackle it myself as opposed to having somebody else here who's my the person I bounce the stuff off of, or feeding me the lines, or whatever thing. I want to talk about COVID and the COVID vaccine. Now, full disclosure, I'm fully vaxxed. I've not had the booster yet, but I have the 2 Pfizer vaccinations, and I got them for very practical reasons. Not because I was deathly afraid of COVID, but because number one, I thought, I travel a lot for work, and I think it's still coming that we're going to have a COVID vaccination passport to be able to fly, even domestically. And so I didn't want to be caught unprepared for that. So I got my vaccinations done for that. And my girlfriend, Lisa, she has Crohn's disease, which means she functions regularly on a compromised immune system. It would be very irresponsible of me to not do something like get the vaccine, which helps me stay healthier so that I have less risk of spreading something to her. So those are the main reasons that I got the vaccine in the first place. But it's interesting that there's this big push that everybody needs to get the vaccine, and I'm not saying you shouldn't. In fact, I think you should. But the big push comes along with some information and some claims that are fraudulent, outright lies. The biggest of which is that the vaccine is being compared to an immunization, which it is not. I remember as a child in elementary school that we all got paraded through the main central part of our elementary school, and some doctor there with a Star Trek-like gun shot us in the arm with polio vaccine. But it wasn't vaccine, it was immunization, because we were being immunized from polio, meaning you got that shot, you were protected from getting polio. That is not what the COVID vaccine does. The COVID vaccine merely minimizes the symptoms if you get it, if you get COVID. It's a big difference. But there are a lot of people out there, proponents of the vaccine, who are out there making these wild claims about how if you get vaccinated, you are protected from COVID, that it will help reduce the spread because you don't have to worry about it anymore. And if you are fully vaccinated, well, now you can hang out with other people who are fully vaccinated. You don't have to wear your mask, you don't have to wear social distancing, because you're covered because you've been vaccinated. Even our president of the United States has made these kind of claims. And it's not true. The vaccine will minimize, hopefully, it hasn't for everybody, there are a few exceptions, but for the majority of people who get it, it will minimize your symptoms when you get COVID so that you maybe have to deal with a nasty cold rather than, say, be hospitalized and put on a ventilator. That's the point of the vaccine. And, I'm glad I have it for that reason. As far as I know, I've not had COVID, but if I should get COVID, I would like to think that my symptoms will be minimal. So I encourage people to get vaccinated. Now, if you're not getting vaccinated for some principled reason or some belief system or some conspiracy theory concern about what's really going on with COVID and the vaccine, Trust me, I'm not going to fault you for that because I'm right there with you. Yes, I'm fully vaccinated, but that doesn't mean I trust it. If I started to tell you some of the theories that I have about where COVID came from and why it exists and what's going on with the vaccine and what's going on with the different waves of COVID, oh, you'd be wondering where my tinfoil hat is. Trust me. I will simply say this. If I was an obscenely rich individual who felt that the world was overpopulated and we needed to thin out the herd, I can't really imagine a method of accomplishing that would be much more efficient than what we've seen during these last couple of years of COVID. That's all I'm going to say. But here it is. Here we are, and we have to deal with it. So I'm vaccinated, fully vaccinated, and I don't regret it, and I encourage you to do the same. Again, if you have opposition to it, okay, I'm not pushing, and I'm not going to criticize you if you haven't got the vaccine. But, you know, I mean, I urge people who smoke not to smoke because it's not helpful to their body and it's harmful to others around. And if they choose not to smoke, you know, the most criticism I'll make is, well, they're kind of stupid for smoking. It's not a really smart thing to do. But that's the extent. I'm not going to go around mocking and lambasting. But ultimately, you may, as a smoker, pay a very heavy price for that nasty habit. The other thing about this, though, and this segues into that, is the name calling that happens on both sides. Now, remember, I just said, if you get the vaccine, you're not immune to COVID. I know I have really close friends in different parts of the country right now who are battling COVID, who are fully vaxxed and boosted. They're battling it like it's a nasty cold, a severe flu bug, but still, even though that's better than being on a ventilator in a hospital, it's still no fun. I mean, we've all been through, you know, nasty bouts of the flu, and that's just, yeah, it's still not fun. It's not a good thing. It's still tough. And so, you know, I have friends who, again, are fully vaxxed, fully boosted, and yet battling some nasty impacts of being COVID positive. I also have some friends who have been very resistant to getting the vaccine, who have contracted COVID and they're battling it as well, but much tougher, where the ventilators do come into play. Unfortunately, some have even lost that battle. And I say that very sadly and reverently. And I cannot, for the life of me, I cannot understand at all individuals who hear about someone who has been resistant to the vaccine, who gets COVID and is struggling and suffering, finding joy in that. But there are those who celebrate. Well, now I bet they're taking it serious. Now I bet they know. Well, now, too late now. What is wrong with you? No, seriously, what is wrong with you? This is a fellow human being we're talking about. You're worried about making a point. You're worried about being right. You're worried about a major "I told you so" moment. They could be dying. What? I guess I'm just not wired the way to understand that. Just like the person I tell to stop smoking. Hey, you know, you shouldn't smoke. It's going to kill you. They find themselves with emphysema. They find themselves with lung cancer. And the struggles go along with that. I don't sit back and go, see, you should have stopped smoking. You know, I tried to tell you should have stopped smoking. What's the point? If it's somebody I know and somebody I care about, I still care about them. They're still a human being. And yeah, they may have made choices that weren't very bright. But we all do that. Anyway, that's my second point. We need to stop pointing fingers and being critical. I'm fully vaxxed. I can still get COVID. I can still spread COVID. I can still suffer from impacts from COVID. Hopefully not hospitalized impacts, but still I could have nasty impacts from getting COVID. People who are not vaxxed can get COVID. They can spread COVID. They can suffer symptoms. They may suffer them more severely. They may not. A lot of people, when early days of COVID, when it was out, you may recall, the CDC actually warned that people who had strong immune systems already, they may have actually had COVID and not known it because they may have thought it was just a flu bug, which is what we're told we now should experience if you're fully vaxxed. So there were a lot of people without the vaccine that were already experiencing that before. So someone who's not vaxxed, they still may not have that level of impact. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, but I'd like to think that I have some common sense. And that's what I want to try to impart on all of us. This is a difficult and scary time. We are not out of the woods. The numbers are starting to really skyrocket back up on positive percentages. Although the other factor of that is, when you hear, the positivity rate is going up, stop and consider for a minute that, when you hear a positivity rate of 20% or 30%, and that sounds so scary, to me, that's not scary. To me, the positivity rate should be a much higher number. Why? Well, because the only people going in to get the tests should be people who think they may have it. And so that means if 100 people think they may have COVID and the positivity rate is 25%, that means 1/4 of the people who thought they had COVID actually had COVID. 75% did not. Well, if everybody starts going in and getting tested, whether you feel like you have it or not, well, that positivity number will go way down. But it's not about what the number is. It's about keeping people safe. It's about using your common sense. It's about wearing this thing where it makes sense to wear it. No, I don't like wearing mine either. But when it makes sense to wear it, wear it. Wash your hands. Don't cough in front of everybody. You don't have to get right in somebody's face. Be smart. That's the key. Be smart. That's how we make it through this together. I urge you to get vaccinated. Be smart. And we will weather this storm. We will make it through. But there's no reason for us to be inhuman to one another. Avoid that. Avoid COVID and avoid losing your soul by being inhuman. That's what I wanted to talk about. The sun has gone down now. It's starting already to get a little chilly. So with that, I'll see you all next time from my front porch.